Hey everyone, it's me, Jay, and transitioning can be such an awkward thing to go through. I know a lot of trans people have these terrible, horror stories, these awkward situations that happen because the transitioning process can be very difficult for certain people and it can be very confusing for certain people. And I know it can lead to situations being very intense in public. And I just kind of wanted to share some of these stories because I know going through them, it feels like such an embarrassing thing. It feels like such an emotional thing. And I feel like it's not talked about enough. Like these situations that occur when you're transitioning, these awkward situations that happen. Sometimes they can even be dangerous, but today I'm just going to talk about three that I've experienced, three situations that I was so uncomfortable in the moment. And looking back, I can kind of laugh at them, but at the same time, I can kind of reflect and just really see how ignorant the person I was dealing with was and how just emotionally unstable I was in the moment that they occurred. So, like the first situation, I got pulled over. Like this was like right before I started taking hormones. I was wearing feminine clothing though, and it was kind of something that I did um, occasionally. I was like part time, and I was just trying to get used to it, trying to get more comfortable with myself. And I was driving with my girlfriend back to our hometown. It was a 4 hour drive, and on the way home, we are like 30 minutes away from like our destination. And then I get pulled over, and I was so scared. I had never been in a situation being like in feminine clothing and then him pulling me over. I just didn't know how to react. And so I remember just having like an anxiety attack, and then it was just getting so, I was just so worried. And then so he comes to the window, he knocks on it, and then he was like, "Hello, sir." And then he like stopped and he looked at me. It was night, so he had his flashlight. He was like, "Ma'am," and then like he started laughing. And I remember in that situation, I was like, "Are you like what the fuck? You're actually like laughing at me right now." And I remember being just like so hurt by that. It was like such like the first time I've ever experienced any type of like transphobia, any type of just like discrimination. Like I was being laughed at. And then he just said, "Oh yeah, do you know why I pulled you over?" And then he went on with it. He ended up giving me a ticket, which I deserved, but the situation was just so shitty because I don't know. I just felt like I hadn't even started transitioning fully, and then that was like my first experience of like personal, like in-person discrimination. And it was just kind of, it was so sad. And in the moment, it like really affected me. And I remember being in like this mindset of just like, wow, I just, everyone's gonna see me like this for the rest of my life. And looking back, I wish I can tell myself, like my past self, like it's gonna be okay. Like, things are gonna get so much better. You're gonna become so much more confident in yourself. Like just keep pushing through and just, because I remember being in such like the worst funk because of that situation. Like it was just so bad. I just think of like a lot of these situations that occur in the moment, they seem like the worst thing that could happen. But I think the best way to look at it is just, we have to take these moments and just kind of push forward and just kind of let them make ourselves stronger, let them make ourselves more determined to be the person that we know that we are. And just fight for our rights because, we really need to do that. And so that's going to lead me to my second situation, which was when I was getting my name changed, my county in Florida. I had to get my fingerprints taken, so I had to go to the police station to get that done. And I had already been on hormones for several months by this moment, and it was in like December-ish, so I had to go and I had to give him my ID and give him $5. And so I went up to the front counter. She asked me for my ID, and so I slid it to her, and then she had to go make a copy of it. So she went to the back to make a copy. She looked at the ID, and then from where she was standing to where I was, which was several feet, it was pretty far away. She screamed. She like at the top of her lungs, and then it was just the most embarrassing moment because she was like, "Is this you?" And like everyone around me was like looking at like me, and like it was just like such an awkward situation because I think everyone was confused, and I was like just like yeah. And myself at that moment, I was still really shy being in public, so I was just like having an anxiety attack. I was like, "Oh my god, what the hell did she just do?" And I was like, oh my gosh, she just outed me in front of everyone. So she was like, okay. She came back, slid back my ID, and told me to wait. And so I was waiting in the waiting room for maybe like 10 minutes. And then at the top of their lungs, they come out and they scream, Mr. And they say my dead name. And everyone looked at me as I got up and I walked. So then I think that's when it clicked to everyone's head. But I just remember just being so embarrassed because, I don't know, they just kind of like outed me, it felt like, at that moment. And it was just so embarrassing. And I remember just being so like, I remember just wanting to cry then and there. But the police officer that I talked to who took my fingerprints was really nice. She understood like what I was doing and why I was there. I kind of got over that situation pretty fast because it made me kind of happy that she saw me as a woman, and so seeing the ID, seeing how drastic the change was, made me feel that the hormones were working and that actual changes were occurring. So that's the kind of the bright side that I tried taking from that, even though it was just a really, really intense moment. I know nothing bad would necessarily happen because I was in a police station, but it was just, I don't know, I just felt belittled in that split second, and it was just an intense feeling. So now my last story, it happened pretty recently, I think like last month. If you guys don't know, I work on my college campus, and if you've ever been on a college campus, parking is really, really shitty. It is the hardest thing to find parking. So working on the campus, I always had to pay for parking, and some days there weren't even any spots for me to pay. And it got to the point where I couldn't really afford to pay for parking anymore. And I was getting late every day to work because I couldn't find a spot. So my work offers decals that I can buy so I can have like parking, so I wouldn't have to stress about finding a parking spot and paying for it every morning. So I asked if I could have one of those slips, and I went to go buy a parking decal. So in order to buy a parking decal, I had to go up to a person and say, this is my card, you know, this is my license plate number. And then he was like, okay. And it was like a very, very awkward situation because, I don't know, anytime like I'm in a situation and people call me ma'am, I still get really, really nervous. I worry constantly that you can't fuck this up, Jay, you can't fuck this up. Like, just try your best to make sure they don't clock you. And it's like this like constant like worry that I feel anytime someone's using feminine pronouns. Like, it's honestly a great feeling, but at the same time, it's like really, really scary. He was being really, really nice to me, and then he told me it was like 40 bucks or whatever. So I handed my debit card, and I don't know why, but I haven't gone to change the information on my debit card yet. I have a new name, obviously, and my debit card doesn't have that new name. And it has a little picture of what I look like before transitioning. And I remember handing him the card, and whenever he went to put the number in the computer, he looked down at the card, he looked up at me, and he was like, so I'm assuming this is your brother or something? And it was the most embarrassing thing because I was like so lost of words. I wasn't expecting that to come out of his mouth, and I kind of like gave him awkward eye contact, and I was like silent for like 5 seconds. It felt like 5 years, and I didn't know what to say. I was like, yeah. And then he starts laughing. He was like, okay, we'll go with that. And he was really nice, and he just put the information in, no questions asked. But it was like such a very weird situation, and it was really, really funny in the moment. Like, he didn't like clock me or anything like that. It wasn't like one of those situations. He was really nice. It was just like, I didn't know how to respond to that. Like, I didn't want to, you know, out myself and say, yeah, that's me. But it was just a really, really funny situation. And it's like really funny to look back at. But I have more of these stories. If you guys want to hear them, then I can make another video. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. This was pretty fun to talk about. It's kind of embarrassing to look back at, but it's cathartic to like relive those moments, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna make a quick plug. If you guys don't know, I have an album. You can download it for free. If you want to donate, it would really be appreciated. I'm trying to pay rent this month, and I could use as much help as I can get. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you can do that. And I'm hoping to make videos as frequently as I can. School just ended, so I'm in summer right now, and I'm hoping just to upload several times a week. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I'm not too awkward in this, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.